Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good morning to each and every single one of you. Arteta out trending right now across the globe. Arsenal fans furious, demanding he either be sacked, demanding his resignation, wanting him out of the Emirates. But is he actually facing the chop? Is his job really under threat? We want to hear from you this morning in relation to what you think. We're going to take a look at what David Ornstein has had to say about the situation this morning as well. But the most important thing is for us to speak to you, speak to our viewers, speak to our members, speak to our super chatters about how you're thinking and feeling the morning after the night before, because the pressure is certainly mounting. Mikel Arteta has said that himself. Arteta out trends. Kroneke out trends, but what will be the changes? David Ornstein has also spoken about Jadon Sancho this morning. We felt it important to update you on exactly what's being said there as well. We'll share all that with you in a few moments' time. I want to go to some of your comments first and foremost. DJ here says, good morning, Terry. Hilarious introduction to your stream. Well, listen, Troops is one of the biggest voices, one of the most respected influencers and content creators from the Arsenal scene. And I think his behavior last night, his reaction to everything going on, I think it's the embodiment of how 95% of Arsenal fans are thinking and feeling. We ran a poll last night where almost 80% of people have either said they want Arteta out or they're nearly at the point where they're going to be demanding him out. It's there. It's there to be seen. You can't get rid of it at all. So for me, I really do empathize. I legitimately empathize with where Arsenal fans find themselves. There's no doubt. Winters here says that was heartless and spineless, and we have no leaders on the pitch. Arteta must go. I'm hearing that a lot from people. Terry, I follow the Arsenal and I'm still angry, but I'm done. And I'm done with the management and ownership. Sell, sell, sell. So David Ornstein also speaks about the pressure mounting up on the Kroenkes and whether or not the lack of European football could be another factor in them moving on. But at the moment, everything is if, buts and maybes. The majority of the British press say that Mikel Arteta's job is safe. And they're 50-50. Or they're very ambiguous, I should say, when it comes to the club being sold. Nobody is making any outright claims that the Glazers are looking to sell. Financiers are saying, the majority of financiers are saying the club isn't up for sale. There's a lot of the foreign press who believe Mikel Arteta's job is under pressure. And I think it should be under pressure. Arsenal, for the first time in 25 years, have not qualified for a European competition. And it will be the worst finish in the Premier League since 1995. This is quite simply the worst Arsenal season in a lifetime. In a lifetime. Even the older generation, the feelings and emotions of how bad they were in that mid-90s season before Wenger are such a distant memory. They may not even remember the emotions they felt because of the brilliance that ensued after that for the next 10 years. But this has been almost now a 20-year spiral down to this position. That cannot be denied in any way, shape, or form. I want to keep it on point with some of these problems. Simon here says, I hate Arsenal, but I believe you shouldn't kick a man when he is down. Get the stupid owners out is what Simon has to say there. Winter again says that was a heartless, spineless performance. Oh, sorry, I've already read that comment. I thought it was a different one that you put in again. Sorry, I apologize. I will be sharing the link very, very soon. Paul here, who is a Goonart, says, morning, Terry. I didn't expect us to turn it around last night. We have no leaders and Arteta hasn't got a clue. Arteta out. And I understand that, Paul. I think for me watching it, and I watched both games back a little bit last night when I finished. I just thought I'd sit back. And I often don't get to watch the games in the same way as I used to as a sort of just a viewing fan because I'm working and prepping for the shows. And yeah, Aubameyang hit the post twice. But you were never really knocking on the door. You were not applying pressure. I couldn't believe I was seeing a team with no fight. And when I watched Roma that were essentially out, They had a few moments in the game where they caught United cold because Man United were playing in second gear. And if they'd scored a couple more goals, which David De Gea pulled off some great saves for, the game could have been very, very different, even for Roma. And I just looked at Arsenal, and we said in the preview they should have had a conservative start. Don't go crazy in the first 20 minutes, but maybe 20, 25 minutes in, go for it. They didn't really start trying until the second half. And even then, they looked scared. They looked like they lacked invention. They didn't know what it was they were doing. Overall, it was just very, very poor indeed. But I know a lot of people this morning are talking and thinking about Mikel Arteta. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? What people think, what people feel. We're going to take a look here at what David Ornstein had to say this morning during an interview with Sky Sports. We're going to get that up on the screen now. This is from big up everybody there over at Football Daily. We're going to get this up on the screen now and see what he had to say this morning.
Arsenal continue to back Mikel Arteta. I've certainly heard no suggestions to the contrary. It's clear that the pressure is on him. It's on many people at Arsenal. He admitted that after the game last night. And there are an increasing number of fans that seem to be turning against him. He's certainly not faultless. You can question quite a lot of the decisions we've seen, especially in these two legs of the Europa League: team selection, substitutions, tactics. We're not privy to the thinking behind all of those decisions. He's had some bad luck as well, as Dave mentions there, with Xhaka. But Arsenal seem to think, the hierarchy, that Arteta is part of the solution, not a key part of the problem. And there is a lot else that needs to change at the club. We know that. On the recruitment side, there's been huge instability, major changes in personnel, executives, playing staff.
It's interesting that Kroneke see Arteta as one of the solutions to the problem. And that there for me stands out, because when you speak to Gooners, they look at it the complete and opposite way, the opposite way around. They look at it the complete opposite way around. They understand that the Kroenkes are the biggest problem at the club, but they see 80% have voted and they want Arteta out. They do not see him. They do not see him having the ability to take Arsenal forward, even with a better squad. Surely that's got to resonate with the owners, surely.
Coaching staff. And I think it would be fair on Mikel Arteta, in the view of the Arsenal hierarchy, to allow him this summer transfer window and longer to prove that he can be a success at Arsenal. And so I don't think his position is under threat, despite some quite intense pressure that's coming on him now.
But David, on that point of recruitment, he's going to be given another summer to try and get the right players in. They have spent money before, but hasn't their recruitment already been quite haphazard? They've gone for individuals, but collectively, it's hard to work out what the aim is, isn't it?
Yeah, there's this phrase that you're only as good as your recruitment. And I think many of the
I've never heard that phrase.
We need to be asking go back further than Mikel Arteta. The club record signing of Nicola Pepe for 80 million euros. And a couple of years on, we're no closer to finding out if he's going to be the real deal. You look across the team, there have been huge decisions made around David Luiz, signing William Saliba, sending him out on loan. Rob Holding, some at the club wanted him to leave on loan to Newcastle last summer. Then Mikel Arteta said, no, you're staying. They let the goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, go when some felt that he was a better bet than Bernd Leno. You've got the centre-back, Gabriel, came in at expense from Lille, can't get in the team now, go into midfield.
And so much has been said there. And do you know what's interesting for me? I respect the fact, I legitimately respect the fact that, and I want to make sure I say this in the right way. Like, I want to say this in the right way. I'm not saying it's all on Mikel Arteta, but if your club is being run that poorly, do you not need the best in class? Do you not need a better manager to orchestrate, to organize, to get you where you want to be as a football club? I sincerely think that you do. Dev here with a super chat says, is it that Is it that Arteta is a yes man, always defending the Kroenkes and all? He would take all the blame and leave the Kroneke I wouldn't necessarily say that makes him a yes man. That makes him professional. So we have this habit now on social media of demanding that managers or players or whoever it may be call out their superiors. we need to be very, very careful of the precedent that we're trying to set here as people. Forget football for a moment, but just in general working life. You shouldn't be, unless it's over big issues, and I'll be very candid about this, unless it's about sexual harassment, fraud, racism, sexism, genuine issues in society, you shouldn't be outing your organizations if there's problems internally. Like I would be, if someone comes to me for a job and I did my normal research on them and I went on their LinkedIn or I went on their Twitter and there was tweet at them slagging off their company, slagging off their boss, slagging off their customers, I wouldn't employ them. That lack of professionalism is terrible. And I said that to so many people before. Like, I've fallen out with people that I make content with. The ones that I never work with again are the ones that run straight to socials or straight to other people and start giving it the big one. Because it's like, well, you've got no professionalism, no standards, no decorum, no class. So I wouldn't want to see my manager of Arsenal, my manager of Man United, my manager of Chelsea, whichever, I'm talking here as a fan, any of those clubs, behaving unprofessionally. I just wouldn't want to see that. So no, I wouldn't call that being a yes man or yes woman in any case. That's being professional. That is being humble. That is being respectful. That is having decorum. That is having class. If you're not brought up to behave in that way, over these types of issues, not the bigger ones. Do you know what I mean? If your boss is a predator, you should out the geezer. Do you know what I mean? Like 100%. But on these types of issues where it's professional things only, no, you shouldn't in any way, shape, or form be behaving in an unprofessional manner. Not in my opinion. Do me a favor this morning, by the way, YouTube, you smashed it Facebook last night. So many likes. You literally did them 3-1 last night. So we need to keep that ratio up. We really do. Nabil here says, where is the media who made Ollie the villain against Lampard and Arteta? It is interesting. Arteta does seem to get a bit of a free ride in relation to that. I'm going to share the link very soon for you to come on and have your say. So stay with us this morning on the Football Terrace. It means a great deal to us if you could do that. Let's do some more of your comments. So here, I want them to be about the game. Dab here says, Arteta is a bad player, bad manager, clueless. As a player, he played sideways and backwards. Now as a manager, his teams are playing sideways and backwards. Arteta won the FA Cup last year, and he deserved it. He did. But I remember saying at the time, go back to what I said. Go back to what I said to Igal, to Sonny, to Adam, to Kesh. You know, God rest his soul. It's his funeral today. R.I.P. To Claude for that. I remember him being on the show and I said it. I'm glad you had that nice run at the end of the season where you beat a couple of teams in the league. And I'm glad that you had that great semi-final and final where you beat Man City and Chelsea respectively, because it gave Arsenal fans that gas. It gave them that confidence to go into this season and think, we can make it. We're going to do it. We're going to achieve. We're going to be the next big thing. And we all said it would end like this. We all said where Arsenal are right now is what was predicted. And in fairness, love them or loathe them, the Arteta out crew were right about Arteta all along. You know, people, and I will use his name, people like Lee Gunner, in relation to his opinion on Arteta, looks like he was absolutely bob on. And what's interesting for me is how there's this switch. As I said, we run 2 polls last night, one on Twitter, one on YouTube. Over 80% of people are either completely Arteta out or they are nearly there. Over 70% are Arteta out, and over 80% are either Arteta out or nearly there. It's telling. It really, really is. And even to a point, and I will be showing this clip in a few moments, even Ty from AFTV has said Arteta's got to go. He hasn't used the word sacked, but he says he's got to go. Our very own Gal, and I genuinely mean this, one of the most passionate, diehard Arsenal fans around, has come out and said, has categorically come out and said that he would understand if the manager was sacked. On Ty, we are going to get into Jadon Sancho a little bit later, so stay with us for that. But on Ty, I want to show you what it is that Ty said. Let's get this up on the screen for you right now. Have a listen.
Would never say that, but I just can't see how we can stay now.
So he should be sacked. So even you are saying that if you listen, you're saying it in a roundabout way because you don't like using that word, but you're saying surely that's it now. You can't see how he can stay.
Well, like I said, thinking that we were going to win, I said to you last week, I said if we were to go out, his position would be untenable. And I just think, unfortunately, much as it pains me to say, I think his position is.
That's Ty. That is Ty giving it to us there. The Arteta's position is untenable. When Ty, who loves Arsenal like nobody else I've ever met in my life, like genuinely, in terms of the backing he gives them is stronger or more potent than anybody else, coming out and quite literally saying his position is untenable. Such a strong thing to say. It's such a strong take to have on this situation. It truly, truly is. Are you Arteta in still? Are you Arteta out? Do you think he should? Do you think he will be sacked? We want to hear from you right now. We're going to share the link on our Discord server for you to phone in and have your say. So if you haven't signed up to that yet, why? You should be signed up to that regardless. We're going to be building that out very, very soon as well as part of our new membership program and pack as well. So get yourselves out. I'm going to go to the Arsenal chat and I'm going to share the link inside the Arsenal chat. Right, I'm going to spam it in the Arsenal chat. So if you want to come on and have your say, it's over there for you to get involved right now. Hamid says, I don't think firing Arteta will do anything good, but further destabilize the roster. But he's to blame for the loss. At least Ozil won't be the scapegoat now. I hear you on that. Did you see his tweet as well, where he said something along the lines of "Good evening"? It made me laugh. It did make me laugh as well. I want to touch quickly on what was said about Jadon Sancho to Man United by Ornstein. This is very much what we told you yesterday via Dean Jones, who is one of the best transfer gurus and football story getters and tellers in the world. You're going to see a lot more of Dean's involvement with the Football Terrace moving forward. So we're going to go through that just now because I know a lot of people are asking about that as well. We'll get that up and we'll get that plan for you.
You can't see how he can stay.
Now, and it shows his quality, but I'm not sure they can be banking on somebody of his age who still hasn't decided if he wants to extend or move back to South America with an offer, I think, from Boca Juniors, and that's a huge decision. It looks like he's moving towards staying, but I think Manchester United wouldn't rule out a striker signing still if Cavani stays, although I don't think that's going to be Haaland. I think it's starting to look like Haaland might well stay at Borussia Dortmund. Jadon Sancho can be got if Manchester United want to pay the money. There is interest there. We know about it. That interest has not gone away. I think at points of this season, in the build-up to the window, their priorities have moved towards striker and centre-half in particular, cover at full-back, for example. But that can change at any moment. And if they want to do the Sancho deal, it's there to be done. And I still think they would be front-running.
There we have it. Still there to be done. And that is the story from everybody right now. There'll be no, just so everyone knows about Jadon Sancho, there'll be no developments in relation to that deal between now and the end of the season. Negotiations will start when the season is over. So there is no new news. So anywhere you go where someone's trying to spin it off as new news, as in breaking, personal terms, nothing. Personal terms are already agreed. Sancho wants to come back to England. He'd love to play for Man United. Man United want him. If they come to an agreement, there was a report late last night that Dortmund are looking to drop their price further to £78 million. Still a £3 million differential between them and Manchester United. Surely that'll be negotiated and worked through. Loads of people backstage right now. Going to get KJ on in a minute. Amin's there. Abs is there. Manny. A couple of Arsenal fans, out and out Gunners there. Eye test is backstage as well. We're going to be getting everybody on to have their say with us this morning. Before we do that, a super chat from the Bill here says, on Man United's transfers, I'm not interested in who is coming in or going out. I will support them, but I want the Glazers out. And if we celebrate signing them, we are getting played. Last Sunday, I was proud of my fans, is what Nabil has got to say about that this morning. First caller we're going to go to today is going to be man like KJ, of course. What you saying, buddy?
Ah, man, good.
I think
good morning. Good morning. You know what I'm saying?
It was a good evening for us. It was a good evening for us, no doubt about it. What's your take on the Arteta news this morning? Most of the British press say he's safe, But you hear fans, you've seen troops, Ty, even Igal saying how they understand if he's going to get sacked or his position's untenable or he's got to go. Do you think that the fans are going to put a lot of pressure on the board, and could you see Arteta going?
The only way I see Arteta going is if they really don't want to sell. If they really don't want to sell, that's the only way I can see Arteta going, to find a way to potentially appease the fans. You know what? It's too early in the morning for me to be trying to think like this. What am I talking about? No. Arteta ain't going nowhere, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to be nice to Arsenal fans and say, oh, yeah, it could be going. Arteta ain't going nowhere. These idiots truly believe that he's the guy. So if that is the case, then he ain't going nowhere. He'll get a summer. He will get a summer again. I don't know how it's going to go, because now that there's no Champions League football, Jack Grealish and them signings there are impossible in my opinion. I don't think Arsenal have the facilities for that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Arteta ain't going nowhere. And the Kroenkes, Arsenal fans, I feel for them because we're in the same position with our owners, isn't it? So they've just got to hope Daniel X, is ready to actually buy the club and it can convince them to sell. Because otherwise, you're in for some long, hard, painful years like United. And again, the only difference is that we've got money. We've got more money than them, and we've got more stature than them. Yeah, the Arsenal stature. You're talking about stature, Terry, and status with players the other day. But Arsenal status as a club is sinking like a rock in water.
Yes. And that's the point. Players have a stature, a status, that it's stuck in time. It is what it is, because you have a validity period in your career. You play for between 10 to 20 years, depending on between 10 and 20 years players play. And at the end of it, your legacy is your legacy is your legacy. When you're a football club, you can be the best thing since sliced bread now, and in 10 years' time, you can be looked at as an atrocious club to go and play for, because you're ever changing. You're consistent within the game. And I know that, Kesh, listen, I respect Kesh a lot. He's a great guy. I think there's he's being gaslit when it comes to this. Two things he said recently that I disagree with, and I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans talk about. We can still attract the Jack Grealish level players. I don't think you will that in the European football. The second thing, which I think is, I don't want to use the word delusional, but I think you're burying your head in the sand. It would be a better way of looking at it. This notion of, without European football, we can focus on the league and we'll be even better. For me, if you keep Arteta and you don't make any major signings, you might come sixth. You might get back towards the top six. But for me, everybody else is going to get better. Man United squad, Chelsea squad, City squad, Liverpool squad. I'm telling you, even Tottenham squad is going to get better. Wolves are going to come back next year because they're going to bolster out their squad. Everton are going to come back bigger and better next year. Leicester are going to bolster out their squad, especially if they're in the Champions League. And this is what happened last year with Arsenal fans. It was, we'll get better and go up the league. But why are you ignoring the 7, 8, 9 teams that are in front of you and their improvement? It's a long, long road back for Arsenal. And I just can't see it legitimately getting better anytime soon. One, with these owners, and secondly, with Mikel Arteta, because he is a decent man manager, because I wouldn't say the dressing room has stopped playing for him. I would say that. But tactically, like people say, Ollie, you can see that 10-year experience in Ollie when he manages games. Make subtle changes here. He might change the system at the right times. He'll move some players around. Like, he's won some seriously big games. He's improved year on year in the league, which is the ultimate barometer for your progression. When I look at Arteta, he just looks like a fish out of water half the time. As soon as the pressure's on top, he doesn't know what he's doing. And I feel a little bit sorry for him. Have you ever seen somebody? Have you ever had someone around you who's finessed their way into a job, but they don't really know what they're doing? You might have seen it in your videographer, where you look at them and you're like, bro, you ain't learned to do this. You've just done a few YouTube tutorials and you're trying to blag it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
That's what I mean. That's how I feel about Arteta. It's like he's watched like a couple of coaching videos and he's gone, I could be a coach. I'll watch the YouTube video.
No, literally, he spent time with Pep and he was like, no, I could do this. I can easily do this at the highest level. I can replicate this. And you know what? Yeah, the one thing I will not accept is fans getting on to him for accepting the job. Like, that is unfair. Yes, he may have been a young manager, but he saw. I said the same thing about Lampard. He saw opportunity, he believed in himself, and he wanted to go take it. And you can never blame a person for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he was young and inexperienced, but he had that confidence in himself to do that. You want every manager that comes into a job to be confident that they can do the job. So that part, I'm not gonna like shun him like people have been saying. Why would he take the job? It's too. But of course, he's gonna take the opportunity. Was it too early for him though? Yes, it was, and that's on him. That's his mistake. Maybe he didn't evaluate his level compared to the job well enough. And that's where you can say, yo, you need to really reevaluate your managerial career.
You know what I really like as well? We're twisted here. Says Terry, Arteta's squad is much weaker than Ollie's. That's a hindsight thing. At the start of the season, Gooners were telling us better manager, better squad finishing in front of us. They were telling us that. Now, we know that we had top players, but they said they had a better squad than most. Go back and watch the pre-season predictions. The amount of Gooners that put themselves in top 4 ahead of Man United. I'm using United here because Twisted Bubba has better man. There's 2 seasons running where they have said better transfer window, better manager, better squad. And 2 years running, they have finished light years behind Manchester United in the league. So I don't think that's so twisted. You might be right in a real sense, but we're fan media here. So we're talking about what fans think and feel as well as what's going on at the actual club. I need Arsenal fans to admit where they are. I think Arsenal fans need to admit where they are. We're going to go to some more calls here. We want to hear what more of you are saying. Loads of people to speak to this morning. We're going to go to Ites first of all. Ites, welcome back to the terrace, mate. What do you want to say? You're very quiet. We can't hear you, bro.
Hello.
No, you're very quiet. What's going on?
Hello.
Still really quiet.
It's still really quiet, bro. Either speak up or maybe come back in or like drop out and sort out your audio.
Yeah, try and come back in. Sometimes I get confused with what people do to their
I
audio.
was expecting to say we may be in a European final, but Ollie still needs to go. I was just waiting for it, innit?
Yeah, we're going to get the Out and Out Gunner podcast on with us now. What are you saying, buddy?
Hi, Terry. Good morning, lads. I'm, I suppose, a little bit disappointed with last night's show, and I don't think we kind of did nothing really for the first half, and I don't think you can give away a half in the European semi-final and expect to get into the final after that. And then we huffed and puffed a little bit maybe for the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then after that, then it was just nothing again. I suppose from an Arsenal fan point of view, is the scary thing is how comfortable Villarreal were throughout the whole 90 minutes. I don't think they ever looked really under pressure. They kind of were never worried that they were going to concede. Another, I suppose, from an Arteta point of view, is he didn't seem to have the team fired up. We finished the game by taking off Aubameyang, but we ended the game with having Willian and Nketiah on the field when you needed a goal. It's like that's a sackable offence in itself. Look, I would have been, I suppose, Arteta's biggest fan and one of his biggest fans, and I would have stood by him and tried to always defend him, but I don't think you can really defend him anymore. You know, at least if Ollie went out, he had a league position to fall back on. Arteta doesn't even have a league position to fall back on, so ultimately I think that's going to be his downfall. Whether the Kroenkes will sack him or not is another thing, and then I see the same thing that you had up with David Ornstein, whether he's going to stay or go or not. I probably think he will stay, but I think the picture's changed completely compared to last night to where it was maybe a week ago, and with fans kind of he had to back and go from there. And I see a lot of Thomas Partey slander and people are slagging him and putting up pictures and little videos. He was left hung out to dry last night. He had 3 Villarreal players pressing him every time, and we had 2 number 10s in front of him that he couldn't get the ball to. If you're going to play a system with a lone DM, you need to have a box-to-box midfielder alongside him. You see it with Man City. You have Rodri will sit there, Gundogan will go box-to-box. You see it at United, Fred will sit there, McTominay will go box-to-box. we were basically Party and then into two number 10s. It doesn't work. He got suffocated and he looked mediocre because he was set up to fail. That was my opinion on it. So I would have some sympathy for him. And he looked out in his feet after 60 minutes. He could barely pass the ball. He was that tired. So I see, and I get the slander, I suppose, with regards to the money you spent on him, but I think it is coming a little bit harsh on Party.
Mate, I hear you there. Really respect the opinions, buddy. Thank you very much for calling in and having your say. You can hear that disappointment in the voice, can't you, KJ, with so many of the Arsenal fans. And I just look. I'll say this about Partey. I criticised him last night, and I stand by what I said because I meant it. I wouldn't say things that I didn't mean. He has been disappointing. Let's see what he does in his second season. He's got an opportunity to turn it around, but it's funny, actually. Somebody said to me, yeah, but he got man of the match against Man United in his first game. And do you know what makes me laugh about that game? He gave the ball away on the edge of the box in that game 3 times like he did last night. United just didn't punish him. So his performance was what it was. But if those 3 times he gave that ball away, if Man United scored one of them or from both of them, his game would have gone from being man of the match to being awful. But it wasn't down to Thomas Partey that we didn't score the goal from taking the ball off him at the edge of the box, if that makes sense. Like, he's been doing that all year. Maybe it's adjusting to the pace of the league. We know a lot of players sometimes take 12 months, 18 months to adjust themselves. But I would say for the hype, the money, and the CV that he comes with, it must be hugely disappointing to see a player that's only been marginally better than Granit Xhaka. Like, it has to be. Let's do some more calls here. We're going to go to here. We're going to go to Gunnar on the show now. Gunnar, welcome to the Terrace. What do you want to say, mate?
Guys, it's over, man. Honestly, Arsenal fans, we need to wake up, man. We need to wake up. Kroneke is a virus. Kroneke is a virus. I'm sorry. I'm so upset. I'm so angry. I'm so angry at people that thought this team was not good, man. Igal, I love him, bro. He's my brother. I go to him show all the time. I told him that we're not good enough. I told him we're going to get 8. He didn't believe me. I told him this squad ain't good enough. Look what happened. It's not Arteta's fault. It's Kronke's fault. It's Kronke's fault. We need the game out. Boycott sponsors. I don't understand. Why we don't boycott sponsors? I don't understand. Arsenal fans, are you that weak? Are you that weak? I don't understand. Boycott sponsors. Cancel the match. Look at United. Look what they're doing. Look at yourselves. Buy Nike. Forget Adidas, man. How are you doing this, guys? Wake up, man. The Cronkies, we're never going to succeed. Never, ever. We're going to be relegated in this rate. How are you? Wake up. Yeah? According to Swiss Ramble, the Cronkies spent 15 million of their own money. 15 million only. 15 million. They invested in our team. How can you guys let them get away with it? We are letting them get away with it, Terry. And I had enough of it. I literally had enough of every Arsenal fan because we are all culpable for this. All of us. Wenger to me to every single Arsenal fan. We're all culpable because we're letting them off it. We don't care. We don't care like the United fans do. We don't care like the Liverpool fans do. Look at us, man. We literally do not give a ass. Look at us. We're just going to buy kits. We're going to get excited. They're going to buy some players. And the circle will repeat. The circle will repeat. No matter what. The circle will repeat. We are such a weak fan base, yeah? Weak-minded, all of us. Yeah? The big Twitter accounts have shame on you. Shame on you, yeah? AFTV, I don't care. I'm calling them out. Shame on you, man. You guys need a boycott. You guys need to stand. You guys actually need to make a stand because you guys got the power. We don't. I don't have. If I had a big Twitter account, I would do it. But I don't. Terry, man, I'm just pissed off, man. Honestly, pissed off.
Were you disappointed with the turnout for the protest yesterday?
I mean, those are okay, but you know, that's what I mean. That's what I mean, Terry. We do not care. We are letting the Cronkies win. We're letting them get away with murder, literally. We don't care. We cared about that match more. We cared about winning the Europa League more than these Cronkies do. These Cronkies do not give a crap about us. They don't care. They probably don't even know we had Europa League semi-final. match on. They don't know. I am convinced they don't know. We played a game yesterday. I know for a fact they don't know. They don't care. We need to get them out of the club and start anew. The players out, all of them. I'd literally be happy to play championship players. Honestly, at least they will give us some fight. Get rid of Arteta. Bring in an experienced manager. Bring in Rafa. I don't understand. Rafa is literally on his couch doing nothing. He's doing nothing. Get him in. Get him in. Get rid of Aubameyang, the Williams, the Cedrics, all of them. These old players. Get rid of them. Get some young players in. At least let them fight for the badge. At least I would be proud if there were some young players fighting for the badge. I would not mind. I would not complain. But you see this year, Terry, we are just a weak-minded team, weak-minded club, weak-minded fan base. And we're never going to get rid of the Kronkies, ever, if we do this. And I bet you the Kronkies probably will stay this summer because the fans will not do what it requires. We need to get a match cancelled. We need to boycott sponsors. We need to do the same as Man United. We will never, ever do that because we are weak. We actually think, Arsenal fans are so delusional, We think they will actually affect us in the summer budget. The Arsenal fans are that delusional, they will actually think the money in the summer will be affected if we target sponsors. That's how dumb we are, man. They don't even realize, no matter what we do, it's the benefit of us. No matter what. If we boycott sponsors, people, the Kronkies will hit the pocket the worst, not us. We will survive without the Kronkies. Guys, boycott. I'm buying Nike. I am not touching Adidas, I am not visiting Rwanda. I'm visiting Somalia, bro. I'm not flying with Emirates. I'm flying with Etihad. I'm not flying with Emirates. I'm serious, Terry. We need to do something big, but we're not gonna do it. No Twitter account is gonna do it. No AVTV ain't gonna do it. No one's gonna do it, and the Kronkies will survive.
Mate, listen, thank you for coming on and having your say. Very, very passionate words there. Thank you very much, buddy. Listen, strong words. What do you all think? We're going to go to a few more calls here. Itest is back with us. What are you saying, Itest?
Yes, I want to address the situation that you addressed earlier of when managers speak out against the owners.
Hang on a minute. Itest. Your mic is now really messed up again. It's all crackly and crazy.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
No, it's proper messed. Legitimately, it's messed up.
Okay. I don't know.
Mate, try and call back again, and we'll see if we can get you on. But yeah, that ain't working too good at all. We're gonna KJ, your thoughts on what previous caller Gunnar said.
You can hear the pain. You can hear the pain in his voice. You can hear the anger, and I think he's right to call out Arsenal fans and question their real love for the club. Not in terms of saying they don't love the club, but I'm saying how much do you actually want these guys out? Never saying I love the club. Yeah, their conviction, questioning their conviction to get Kronke out. Because if there was supposed to be a protest last night, why did we see a school trip? Why did we see a school trip without teachers? That was basically what we saw.
Yeah,
it shouldn't matter what stage the stage your team is playing on. You protest. You be strategic with the protest. If yesterday strategically wasn't the right move to make in terms of timing, getting people there, getting people on board, why do it in the first place? It's looking very bleak.
I think what's really embarrassing for the Arsenal fans who pulled out based on I don't want to put the team off is you lost anyway. So it's almost this element of you not protesting with bigger numbers than the first protest. You're not making a stand. You're not doing something that got, because what's trending today? It's all about Arteta. There's a little bit of talk about the Kronkies maybe selling, but it's all about how bad the players were, how bad the manager is, sacking the manager. Who can we bring in to save this football club from a player point of view? The conversation is already reduced. In the last 3 or 4 days, the Arsenal conversation is reduced to 70% about management, and personnel and 30% on the ownership level. Just as we said, me and you sat here on these streams a few weeks ago and said these movements could slowly start to dissipate and move away. And I don't just put Arsenal in that category. What also happened is on Sunday, Manchester United laid a huge marker. Whether people agree with all the actions, most of the actions, none of the actions is irrelevant for a moment. The splash made by Man United fans was huge. We saw across social media so many randomly, lots of fan bases that are also involved in protesting attack Man United fans. Yes, there were a handful that did some stupid things, but the vast majority didn't. But it was universally condemned by about 80%, okay, of sort of football Twitter, rival fans, Arsenal fans, I saw do it, Spurs fans. And my view at the time was what I believe it even more to be now. I ain't got the energy to do that. So what I'm going to do is denounce that as a bad way to protest, so that way, when I know we don't deliver, if all the Arsenal fans said that's how it's done, and then 35 10-year-olds turn up to their next protest, they look tin pot. They look like a tin pot process. So I feel like they laid those foundations down early to say that was a bad way of protesting because they weren't going to turn up. But the movement's already starting to die. And I think that's why, if I was an Arsenal fan this morning, I'd be so angry because the Kroneke out movement is starting to dissipate. We even saw people there yesterday, bruv, in the new kits, new merch. Yeah. Like, we're watching the videos of it. And it's like, well, how are you going to improve things when you don't really want to? We'll do a few more calls with you this morning. Next up on the show, we're going to get Nick on the show. Nick, what are you saying?
Hey, mate, how you going?
Yeah, very well, thank you. What do you want to say, buddy?
Look, I'm just saying, coming in from a Chelsea fan's perspective on this Arsenal thing, I think there's two main things, right, that's happened with Arsenal. A lack of cohesiveness between the manager and the board, and the also lack of ambition from the board, man. Because Arsenal have always had the potential to be a top club. They have the history to back it up, man. We know this. But yet the Kroneke family refuse to run this football club as a football club, right? They don't want to put proper money into it. They don't want to see success. They're just slacking off, man, and just taking money out, and seeing all this stuff for personal gain. I don't think they really care about the club. And I think with what the Man United fans are doing, it's honestly quite inspiring. Like, rising up against these horrible owners for them, the Glazer family, they're useless. I do think the Arsenal the fans need to try and enact some form of change, because we've seen it with the Chelsea board too. They're putting in fans in board meetings now. Look, I don't know how much of an effect that'll have on how the club is run, but it's still a voice and a say. And I do think something needs to fundamentally change at Arsenal. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure when, but it does.
I couldn't agree with you more. And as I say, I was when I watched Arsenal's protest 2 Fridays ago, I thought, wow, look at that. Will it now pick up pace? Will it keep motoring on forward? Will it keep improving?
Yeah, mate, it showed passion, energy, and desire from the fans.
And that's what I anticipated. It may pick up pace again if the summer's bad. So if they don't sign the right quality of player, as I've already said, forget Jack Grealish for a moment, because that deal isn't happening as far as I'm concerned. Whoever they sign, Arsenal fans are going to drink the Kool-Aid. Arsenal fans are going to buy into the PR hype. Arsenal fans are going to start talking about if they sign Buendia, it will be, look at the creativity, look at these stats, they'll look at Buendia and go, we've got our Bruno now, we've got the new Ozil now. That's what they'll do, and they'll buy into it. And I think that they'll start. I honestly feel, barring the staunch, hardcore Arteta outers, we could see the season begin with a decent pre-season, 4 or 5 signings, with 80% optimism amongst Gooners again. I just wouldn't be surprised, because they seem to buy in to the corporatized PR spiel all the time. And if they do sign a player that they want, you know what's going to be spun, don't you? The player signed because of Arteta. That is going to be the message, and they're just going to do it. It's going to happen. I really see that. Nick, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on and having your say this morning. We've got a super chat here from I don't know how do you pronounce that name, KJ? Is it Iwan?
Wait.
You can read that. I don't know how you pronounce that.
The super chat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess Ewan.
There we go. I'll go with Ewan. Arteta needs to go, but he is not the main problem. It's KSE. We need to do what we can to force them out. The club is rotten, and it starts with them. Completely and utterly agree with that point of view. We're going to go here to T1OS. What are you saying, buddy? He's a Man United fan.
Yeah, hello. Is it okay if I talk about like one particular player from last night?
Yes.
Like one player I really wanted to talk about is Axel Tuanzebe. Now, Axel Tuanzebe is one of my favorite players. Like I've been watching him ever since he was in the U23s, and I've been keeping an eye on him for a long time. And I was over the moon when he performed against PSG in the Champions League. But who would have thought that he basically pretty much gave the best performance from a centre back in European competitions this season? But now he only started against Granada in the Europa League since then, and that was only because Harry Maguire was suspended. And one thing I don't get about Axel Tuanzebe is that why aren't the media talking about him? Because they always seem to, because I'm a huge David De Gea fan as well, but I like Dean Henderson. But the media pretty much hype Dean Henderson as the next David Seaman. But Tuanzebe is not even getting a looking at, even though I would argue Tuanzebe, he probably gave, out of all of our defenders, he's probably given the best individual performance this season. Yet no one is talking about him. No one is talking about him. And
as a fan of Tuanzebe, there's a reason why he's not getting talked about. There's a reason why he's not getting a look in. He hasn't been performing when he's played. He's not consistent. You can't talk about a player in a glowing light when he's only had one notable performance all season. He's very injury prone, and Dean Henderson deserves more praise than he does, because Henderson's played and he's played well, and he's kept some good clean sheet levels, and he's had some rocky performances, but he's had some strong performances as well. To ask why Tuanzebe isn't getting any praise or any kind of look in is, for me, it's something you don't have to ask, because he hasn't done anything.
And trust me, Tuanzebe is that we won't get into the sort of the geography of it, but he's in terms of nationality, he'll play for England. I think that's what he's declared as right now. I think I may be wrong.
Congo, I think.
He's still declared for England, but he probably will switch to the Congo.
So my point is, if he was playing regularly for Man United and playing well, he would be getting the attention, because if he's playing well and he's centre back at Man United, the English press will be like, well, where does that fit into the England system? So there'd be that hype. But KJ's right. He just doesn't play. Because he isn't playing, he's not being spoken about. And if that PSG performance would have been replicated 4, 5, 6 more times, there'd be calls. The problem he's had in the 2 or 3 appearances that I remember him making since, he was the guy that gave the stupid foul away that led to Everton's equaliser. He scored the own goal against Leicester. Now, we wouldn't be in a title race regardless, but that's he kind of cost us 4 points, or was part of the reason it cost us 4 points. If he'd have come in those games and gave that Mbappe, Neymar level performance, where you would get the call from the press and from fans is, hang on, we want to see more of this. Speaking of centre-back performances, though, I was overly impressed again last night with Eric Bailly when he came in. It was an Eric Bailly night. All right, it was very much an Eric Bailly night. He had that great bit of skill and dribble with the ball, and then his pass was awful. He had some great tackles, but then he nearly knocked out Mkhitaryan by headbutting him. And for me, I love Eric Bailly. He's comical on and off the pitch at times, if that makes sense. He's a funny guy. Listen, bro, thank you for calling into the show and having your say. I really do appreciate that. Everyone who's tuned in this morning, a massive thank you to all of you. We're back later today with more content for you. Big build up to Chelsea Man City, which is this weekend. I kind of forgot that was all going on with the hullabaloo of the Champions League. So make sure you're back involved with us then. Until next time, KJ, thank you. All the callers, thank you. All the super chatters, a massive thank you to you as well. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again